Hey everyone, you might have seen a video that I made last season about Vi mid with lethal tempo long before the pros started playing it. I'm always ahead of the meta when it comes to knowing what's strong. So today I'm updating that Vi mid guide with a completely new build, playstyle, and rune page, and it's even stronger than before, and on top of that, it's super fun to play. Before we get into the build though, we have to talk about something equally important to be successful playing Vi mid, and that's laning phase. Luckily, this is another amazing part of playing Vi though. Her laning is very strong and easy to execute. With this build, you want to start a longsword and 3 potions or refillable. Refillable if the matchup is very easy, or you can just start 3 potions every time. We'll get more into items in a little bit though. Laning with Vi all comes down to using her E with her passive shield, combined with her insane base health regen. She has the highest base health regen in the game, tied with Darius. It's pretty simple though. You want to use E on a minion to poke the enemy laner, and the E also activates your passive shield to block any damage from them. I'm against Vel'Koz in this game, who isn't that strong at level 1, so I don't have to save my E charges to grab CS safely or anything like that. I just use my second E to poke him more. From using 2 E's on him, look at the damage already. On top of this, I also damage the minion wave a ton with my E, meaning I can get the push advantage and hit level 2 first. But I don't want the wave to be too close to his tower when I hit level 2, so I'm just going to last hit and push as slow as possible. As the next wave is arriving, I use my E to poke him again and pop my passive shield to block any return damage or minion damage. I'm 1 minion from level 2 now, and you can see Vel'Koz is already half health from my E poke. As soon as I kill this next minion and level up, I grab my Q and go in right away. Something important here is that you want to always auto after the Q, then use E to reset your auto. Every auto counts when you're playing an AD champion. From that all in, Vel'Koz was forced to use barrier, so I have a ton of kill pressure now. I'm looking to dive, so I need to push in the wave. As soon as I clear the last minion and my wave starts walking into tower, I charge up my Q and do the exact same thing as before, Q, auto E, and get the kill. In most melee vs range matchups, the melee champion can't really do anything until level 3, but Vi is so strong at all points in lane that you can do things like this where you win lane in the first 2 levels. She could do this with the previous build from the older video though, so let's talk about what changed. One of the most important differences is that you want to max Q now. You still want to put 2 points in E, but from there, the rest go into Q. The reason for this is, before, the build was lethal tempo, then build bruiser style Vi with stride breaker and Sterix. You would max E for the base damage and poke the enemy laner down with it. You would save Q to escape ganks, or if they got low enough, all in for a kill. But now with this new build, we're going to be rushing a Duskblade with Dark Harvest. This is a lot more damage than a stride breaker, so we can still poke them down with E, but put points in Q. The reason for the points in Q, you'll see here in the next clip. In this game, I'm 1 and 2 right now, with a Dirk and 2 longswords, so I'm not fed or anything. If anything, I'm actually behind. I'm heading back to lane, and I see the enemy mid LeBlanc trying to make a play top lane. This means I want to shove mid wave, then I'll have 2 options basically. While I'm pushing, I'm paying attention to the minimap to see if LeBlanc is going to recall after the kill she gets top, or if she's going to try and come back to mid. As I finished pushing, I saw LeBlanc didn't look like she was going to recall, so I go into the brush here. This is something you can do anytime the enemy mid tries to roam, and I'm going to show you another example of this. But basically, Vi's damage is balanced around her Q not being that easy to hit. So by maxing Q and rushing lethality, we do insane damage if landing a fully charged Q. No matter who the enemy champ is here, if I'm landing a fully charged Q, I can probably kill them. I was expecting LeBlanc to come from over the wall, and I would surprise her by using my Q over it, but to my surprise, she just ends up walking straight at my brush, so I fully charge Q and try to do the auto E reset like before in the Vel'Koz clip. Her passive prevents this though, so I stand right next to the wall to be prepared for her to jump over, and as soon as she does, I alter and finish her with E. So even when I'm not fed, if I land a fully charged Q, the damage is insane. Knowing this, you can constantly push waves, then use the vision denial over walls to get very easy, cheesy kills. When I get back to lane, I do exactly that. I use Q to quickly shove the wave, then drop a control ward in this brush to make sure there's no vision. Then, I charge my Q up over the wall and hit the LeBlanc with it, and look at that damage. If I had my ult, I would have just one-shot her. But I use my flash and Q as soon as it's up and finish her for the kill. Oh, and by the way, we're just getting started. This is actually the weakest point of the build. The real power spike and reasoning on this new playstyle I have yet to show you. We're going to get into that now though. The core playstyle of this build is using Dark Harvest and Duskblade to get one-shots and resets in fights, because the major downside of the build is you're very squishy. So even if I jump in and one-shot someone, the rest of the team would quickly kill me, but that's why Duskblade is so clutch. That invisibility lets you disengage for your Q to come up again, so you can stay alive in between kills. This brings us to our second core item, which is a huge power spike, the Collector. When you have Duskblade and Collector finished, you can one-shot pretty much anyone as long as you aren't super far behind. This version of Vi does the most burst damage I've ever seen from any assassin. In this clip here, I'm heading to a side lane after building my Collector. I see the enemy Camille has red buff and is pushing a bit far, and I think she'll face check this brush after she's done pushing, so I walk over to it. When I get there, I start charging my Q, since remember, this is where most of your damage comes from. Playing this build, you really want to use vision, or the lack of it for the enemy, to your advantage. When she starts walking towards me, I hit her with Q, then try to ult her before she could auto me to get her passive shield, but I did it too late. But I still one-shot her. Now, that might not have seemed like a lot of damage, but think about this. She had bone plating, armor shoes, a ton of health from Divine Sunderer, and her passive shield ate my ult damage, but I still one-shot her. We're not done yet though. I push these waves all the way to the tier 2 tower and see a fight happening in mid lane. First, I take Gromp because I'm greedy, then move towards mid. I swept the whole way so I know they don't know I'm here, so I take my time and make sure to land this Q on Lilia and one-shot her with just Q auto E. Then, I wait for my Q to come up again, and charge Q, then flash on the Blanc, but Xerath Q gets the last hit even though my Q almost killed the Blanc on its own. She lived with like 50 health and I was surprised Collector didn't finish her. But after this, I Q over the Raptor's wall into the enemy jungle, looking to use the Chemtech zones for more picks. Alistar puts a control ward down that spots me though, so I back off a bit to see who else might be coming with him. When I only see him, I charge my Q for just a little bit to make sure he doesn't cancel it with his Q and W, and I burst him hard to make him pop his ult. Then as soon as the enemy Trist appears, I ult her, which goes through Alistar as well, which damages him the same amount as it would damage Trist. So if I ult and it goes through all 5 of the enemy team, it will damage them all the same. And that's a lot of damage with this build. But then I use a quick tap Q, auto, and E to one-shot Trist, and the E crit her, so it crit Alistar behind her as well, and finishes him off for the double kill. So you can see how much damage the Collector Spike gives. Oh, and this isn't even her biggest spike of damage. Now we're going to take it to the next level. After Duskblade and Collector, your next 2 core items are Lord Dominik's and Infinity Edge. Like I said earlier in the Trist and Alistar clip, Vi E can crit, and the AoE damage will crit everyone behind the target. After you have these 3 items, you'll have 60% crit. So basically, when you do a full combo on someone, you'll be doing Q, auto E, and if that doesn't kill, then you would alt, auto E again. 4 autos basically. With 60% crit, one of those will crit for big damage. Most of the time, they don't live past your Q auto E though. This Lilia here had a Demonic Embrace and a Thornmail, so it's not like she didn't have a lot of bonus health and armor. Another thing I love about this build is how you actually get so much stronger with each item, especially when you get 6 items. You turn into an actual hyper carry. In this game, I'm trying to carry some pretty heavy players. I have 20 kills out of our 33 and we just got Baron, and the enemy team almost ended the game earlier. I also just got my last item, which was replacing my boots with a Phantom Dancer, giving me 100% crit now. Also, when it comes to shoes, it's pretty situational, but as of right now, I like Berserker's Greaves the most. But anyways, I push top wave and 4 of the 5 members of the enemy team show up. Now, just sit back and watch what this build is capable of. I nearly 1v5 them because of the Duskblade resets and the insane damage from my crits. Also, how fun does this look, right? It's extremely fun to play. Alright, before we wrap things up, here's the rune page I've been running. Relentless Hunter is nice because your Q slows you when charging it, so the movement speed you get cancels that out basically. You can swap Sudden Impact to Taste of Blood for harder matchups, and secondary runes aren't that important, but you're going to get so many kills with this build that Triumph Gold really starts to stack up. So you have the rune page, you know the core build, and you know how to play it now. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video.
So you might be asking yourself, why go to SkillCapped.com to improve when I could just watch YouTube guides or play the game? Well, let me show you. Let's say you're a mid laner who's struggling to climb the ladder. Not only would you get over 70 site exclusive courses for mid lane, but maybe really what you've been struggling with is trading as a mid laner. Well, we got you covered with 4 different courses breaking down how to trade as a mid laner. Not only do we have the largest catalog of guides for League of Legends in the entire world with over 1,500 videos to watch, but these are then curated by the top coaches and players into courses on every skill and topic you need to master in order to truly improve and climb the ladder. If all of this wasn't enough, we haven't even touched on our catalog of over 700 Smurf commentaries, where a challenger expert shows you how to climb out of your rank, and you're guaranteed to get any questions answered by them directly. Not to mention, we're the only service to offer a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a refund, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Head to SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below.
Alright guys, so in every single one of these replays, both players are just trolling from start to finish, letting each other get away with everything and anything. There are just free kills sitting there, you guys just have to take advantage of them. But I hope this opened your eyes a bit on how fed you could actually be getting in lane in these lower elos. Let us know how it goes, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.